Hey everybody, and welcome back to Dude's Brunch, a podcast about pop culture and internet garbage and black coffee. I'm your host, Taylor Olmstead. With me this week, like every week, it's my good buddy, Tyler Reed. Tyler, what'd you have for brunch today?
Hey everybody, today for brunch, I had omu rice. Okay, alright, I had to make sure I actually said that correct. If you don't know what omu rice is, it's basically egg and ketchup rice.
That sounds disgusting.
Oh, it's so good. It's like the perfect thing when you have a nice rice-based meal the day before, and you put it in the fridge and you cook it up with your favorite meat, usually chicken. Eggs? I mean, come on,
I'm confused if this is like an omelet or if this is like rice with an egg and ketchup put on top.
You can serve it like an omelet. It's almost exactly 100% an omelet.
Just with cooked rice in it.
Yeah. And with an emphasis on ketchup for some reason.
Oh my god, that's disgusting.
Yeah, I'm gonna veto this. Sean, please save us. Sean Evans is here. What did you have for brunch today?
I had a toasted bagel with butter.
I mean, okay. Kind of plain, but, you know.
It was cinnamon raisin.
Oh, okay.
What are you talking about plain?
I assumed you meant a plain bagel, and I was gonna feel sad for you, but yeah, that's good. Cinnamon raisin bagels,
Yeah.
That's legit.
Yeah, thank you. What did you have for breakfast, Snooty McGee? Pinkies up in the air.
I made a breakfast scramble with some hash browns and eggs and peppers and salsa.
So an omelet.
Well, it was more like, because the hash browns were in there, it doesn't really stay in the consistency of an omelet, so it just kind of becomes a bowl of scrambled eggs with other stuff in it.
You're a loser.
Shut up, Sean.
I really just want to make sure you just look at that image and you're like, oh, that could be nice. That looks kind of good.
So this is what it was, the thing that you ate?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Why do you have to... I have to download this. Now I'm going to have to look at it every time I get on my computer.
Oh, yeah.
This better be worthwhile.
This does not look appetizing, Tyler.
This looks like an egg Hot Pocket.
I mean...
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
And there's no way that you actually made this thing.
I mean, Catherine did because she's more dexterous than I am.
So, listeners, we will put a link to this in the show notes. It looks like...
this looks like somebody's leftover fried rice that they put in a bowl in a way to make it seem really fancy, like they do at high-end restaurants, and they just slapped it on a plate, and they took an egg and just laid it over top of it, and then took a little squeeze bottle of ketchup and mayonnaise and kind of went... And then,
that's exactly right.
You have to make the sound effects in order to get to look like that, but just like...
I think what they did is they made a flat disc of scrambled egg, put it into the bowl, so it took the shape of the bowl, filled the bowl with rice, and then flipped the whole thing over onto a plate and took the bowl off.
Yeah.
But my question for you, Tyler, is why? Just why?
I think I already described it in that it's an omelet. So an omelet is a breakfast food, and then you already have leftover rice, so it's there. And then it's just eggs taste good with ketchup. It doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think I even particularly like ketchup that much. I say that having just literally gotten done eating meatloaf, so maybe I do like ketchup.
Let's take a quick poll then. Sean, ketchup, yay or nay?
Oh, only organic.
Ooh, that's an interesting stance.
I've been really enjoying sriracha ketchup.
Ugh.
I do like sriracha ketchup, but for me, ketchup is exclusively on burgers, nothing else.
I can put it on some other stuff. I just don't... Ketchup in, like, the Heinz form doesn't taste that good, but, like, we get organic ketchup from Trader Joe's because it's the only thing that they have. And I've actually come around to it because it has, like, a tomatoey taste.
Oh, and instead of, like, an acidic vinegary taste?
Yeah, I don't like the acidic vinegary taste, no.
So I want to do a quick craft beer update with Sean here. I went to Kroger this week, and they had this beer on sale that was a lime pilsner. And I thought, that sounds summery. I'm going to go ahead and get that. It was $8 for a 6-pack. I was like, whatever, it's cheap. And I came home and I drank one, and it just tastes like Bud Light Lime. I don't know what I was thinking.
What do you think Bud Light Lime is?
I don't know what I was thinking, Sean. Please just save me from this horrible, limey, light beer misery. I can't do this. I have like 4 more of these things.
Has it been hot down there?
It's been very hot.
Okay, this is when I particularly enjoy that kind of drink. So, like right now.
So what you're saying is I should just ship these to you?
Yes.
No, you should finish them. You should just finish them.
It's gonna be a struggle.
Listen, it took me a long time to come around to lime beer. Like, Sean 2 years ago if you would have given me a Bud Light Lime, would have been like, "Are you trying to kill me? Is this a joke?" Like this is like slime inside of a can from like Nickelodeon in the 1990s. Like it's just everything. But now I'm like, we go to the store and Sarah's like, "Can we have limeritas?" Even me being like, "Can we have limeritas?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we could do that." Or not limeritas. Yeah, Bud Light Lime.
I feel like
those
the name
limeritas
is
too.
just goofy. I think it's a bad PR, you know, like
What, Limerita? Yeah, it's a horrible name.
But it does taste like, the reason that I like it is because it does taste synthetic. Like that doesn't bother me.
See, I was expecting it to taste more like a Corona with a lime in it than that synthetic lime flavoring. I think that's the problem.
That's what I mean. Like, I think when you get something like that, you have to expect it to taste like candy.
Yeah, to taste like lime Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you go get like a Tecate and put like a lime in it or something. Even the lime in anything, really. I know what you mean. And those are two different cravings. Mm-hmm. Like wanting a Bud Light Lime and wanting like a Pacifico with a lime in it or something those are two different and distinct tastes.
And I realize now that I wanted the second one. I wanted a Mexican beer with a lime in it, not a lime flavored beer.
You can't have both.
Flew too close to the sun.
My recommendation is doing a Milwaukee Sunrise, which is a PBR and a glass of orange juice. It sounds like a shandy, but it's not, because it's a lot more orange juice than there is beer.
It sounds like if you took like an omelet and you put like some ketchup on it and some rice.
Oh my god, get out of here.
But I don't comment on the liquor or the what is this section called? What do we call this section where we talk about booze?
Tyler and Sean's craft beer update. Great.
Well, I don't enjoy liquor that very much, but I've been enjoying this drink that my friend Michael, who works at the Rook, made. Has cucumber, lime, mint, and gin and soda, and it's surprisingly really good.
So
none of that didn't sound bad at all. Just for the record, that didn't sound like it was table salt, vinegar, cheap brandy, and a cigarette butt. Like
no, that did sound delicious. It basically sounds like a mint julep, but with gin instead of bourbon.
Yeah, right. I'm just a big piece of shit and I don't know anything about anything, so that's just my perspective as always. I'm like, cucumber in a drink? Ooh, this sounds crazy.
Oh, and I want to name that cocktail I just made up the truck stop bathroom.
Eastgate Speedway.
Hey guys, Zach Schonkweiler here. You may recognize me from my previous appearances right here on Dude's Brunch, in which I sound like a total asshole. But I'm actually a pretty ordinary guy, with an extremely ordinary podcast called Ordinary Folk, which is now part of the Dude's Brunch network. On Ordinary Folk, I like to sit down with people who I've met that I find truly interesting because of their passions and what they do, and try to have a unique conversation, finding out why it is they do what they do, and how they got to where they are now. It's quite a glorious adventure of curiosity and conversation, if I do say so myself, and I think I just did. We'll be returning with new episodes later this summer, so until then, stay tuned, stay hungry, stay true, and stay ordinary, you beautiful creatures.
So, since we are on a roll of talking about TV shows right now, I wanted to talk about one of my new favorite shows this week, The Gong Show. So, for listeners who are not familiar, The Gong Show is a competition talent show, similar to like an America's Got Talent or something like that. It's been around for a really long time, but it kind of disappeared off TV for 15 or 20 years or so. And basically the idea of The Gong Show is it's everybody who's too bad to be on any other kind of talent show, and you perform your talent in front of a panel of comedians, and they score you, but if they don't like you, they can ring a giant gong, and you just have to quit and leave. It's basically the world's most simple premise. So this round of the Gong Show is executive produced by Will Arnett of Arrested Development fame, and it's hosted by a guy named Tommy Maitland. So I wanted to get some opinions from Sean and Tyler, who had not watched the Gong Show before, as to what their first impressions of the show were.
Oh, you can go first.
Why do I have to go first? Okay,
say something
fine.
redeeming about this show.
Say something redeeming now, Sean. You're sounding very negative about this. I didn't know that Will Arnett was, was in charge of bringing this wonderful piece of media back on air. That's interesting, considering he's been on there twice. I was like, why is Will Arnett on there again?
Yeah, because he runs it.
Makes sense. He must really like the Gong Show. And I guess, are we just not gonna, talk about, our host?
You can if you want.
I mean,
I was going to talk about it later, but if you want to talk about it now, by all means.
No,
Okay,
don't talk about it now.
Let's come back to the host. What did you think of like the show and the format?
Yeah, what'd you think about the show?
I mean, I feel like I can ignore. I guess I can sidestep that specific point and say that right out the gate it was very confusing. I was like, I have no idea what's going on. This man is just saying things that it's a call and response, and I don't get it. I'm like, is this something I'm supposed to rehearse for? Is I supposed to look at some cliff notes? And
Marco, dick joke.
Yeah.
Marco, dick joke.
And then there's a real band, and I was like, hell yeah, that's really cool. And I was like, boy, we sure do need to have real bands on more shows, because I bet musicians need some money right now in the darkest timeline we're currently in. And then everything else is just really very confusing. All the talents were very... Oh, I guess they were talents. It feels like the first episode was very, very off the rails, but I went back and I watched, I think, the third or fourth episode, and it was like much more composed. I'm like, hey, these guys sound like they're a real thing, and so they have some like real acts that actually tour and stuff like that on there. But originally it was like, I'm a yodeling man riding a giraffe. It's like okay, I mean, I guess that's a skill.
Yeah, they really bring out the weirdos for the first one.
Yeah. That was a run-on sentence. I'm sorry. I'll take my podcasting license away now. Please take it back.
Sean, what did you think?
Oh, man. You owe me the 23 minutes it took me to before I turned the show off back. Up to my life, because this was absolutely god-awful. The only redeeming part of watching the show was Zach Galifianakis, who has lost a lot of weight. Looking good, Zach. You don't listen to our podcast, but if you did, just saying, you look good. Man, let's see. What did I hate about it? Everything.
You watched a particularly rough episode. I didn't think that one was very good.
You only got one chance to win me on network television, so it's kind of over. And I had to find it on ABC's app, so I still had to watch all the stupid commercials 16 times throughout it. And after like 5 commercial breaks in like 5 minutes, I was like, yeah, I'm over this. Like, I love Will Arnett. I like Zach Galifianakis.
Did you watch it by yourself?
No, I watched it with Sarah. We both agreed that it was time to turn it off.
Okay. So you gonged the Gong Show? Alright, that's fine.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. When it first started, I was ready to give it a shot. I was like, I'm ready for a good laugh. I'm a guy who likes to have a nice laugh with a cold beer, his girlfriend by his side. A nice evening in after a hard day's work. But all I got was a face full of stupidity. Stupid.
Now, okay, so Sean gave it like a 0. If we're using
not
the
even
Gong
that,
scale,
I give like a -2.
which is okay. I guess that's a scale.
This show needs to go out and find me a better show to watch. That's that much better to make up for having watched it.
Now, I wouldn't gong the Gong Show. and I wouldn't give it a 10. I would give it a pretty good rating. I would maybe give it 5 or a 6, and I'm like, I would watch it with others specifically and never in any other context, because I feel like being able to goof with other people and sort of like also like sort of rate the entertainers, I think is fun, but I don't know if it's particularly unique to just the Gong Show.
Yeah, I think Tyler captures something really good there. Every episode of this I've watched with other people. I've watched a few with my roommate, and then I watched a couple with my family when I was back home for the 4th of July. And I really enjoyed this show. If we're using the Gong Show 1 to 10 scale, I would give it probably a 7 or 8.
Oh my god.
But I do think that watching it by myself would not be nearly as fun, because part of the fun is reacting to the acts with other people.
No.
Oh, it is. It is. Because everybody has a different idea of who they want to gong and who they think is good. It's not like in America's Got Talent where some people are just objectively good. All of these people are horrible. And it's just a question of, like, which ones do you find the least horrible?
Listen, if I wanted to go and see street performers perform, and particularly these street performers, I would just go to Los Angeles and watch them perform on the street. There's no need for me to have some gong and ring it or rate them on the point system.
But then you also get the comedians making fun of them, which is probably the best part.
But I already have BoJack.
So what we're hearing is Sean doesn't have any room in his heart
for any more Will Arnett.
No, I do. I do. I just don't care for this show. The live band added nothing. Like Mike Myers' interpretation of what's his name? That's his name, right?
So yeah, let's dive into that.
Let's just pull this rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah. It's a spoiler, but it's not really a spoiler. The host, Tommy Maitland, is not a real person. He is a character played by Mike Myers. And it took me probably 15 minutes into the first episode I watched
serious?
to realize it was Mike Myers.
Are you serious?
I am dead serious.
Are you... Did you not hear the opening line where he comes out and sounds just like Austin Powers? He can't escape that character.
There was something about it where I was like, boy, something about him just doesn't look right. Like he had a bunch of plastic surgery or something. I don't understand. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, it's just Mike Myers wearing a mask.
Oh, my God.
I mean, to be fair, I was along for the ride for the most part, and so I definitely noticed something was off, but I was never like, no, this is who he is.
Oh my god.
I know.
Did you know ahead of time, Tyler?
Huh?
Did you know ahead of time?
No, I had no idea.
Sean, did you know ahead of time?
No, honestly, I didn't.
I think it adds to the enjoyment of the show if you don't know.
He's not that unique, though. He doesn't look like... He still looks like Mike Myers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not like he's in the Fat Bastard costume or something, but I enjoy that character a lot. I think he's really funny. He's probably funnier than most of the comedians on the show.
I mean, maybe the grand irony of all of this is that Will Arnett figured out a way to get Arrested Development into every other show that he's ever been on, because by having Mike Myers on here, I just realized that both of you have face blindness.
Oh, no.
So there's your Easter egg. Gotcha, suckers. But not me. Didn't cast one over on Sean. I don't got face blindness. I don't got good grammar either, but that's fine.
I tried to make that joke yesterday. I was like, this person who someone had told me was like 20 was actually almost 30, and she was like, I apparently don't know how old people are. And when I told her I was 25, she was like, or 26, whatever, you know what I mean? She's like, no, I thought you were way older than that. I'm like, I'm wearing a pink sunglasses shirt, and you think I'm older than 26? Are you kidding me? Anyway, I'm sorry.
Old man Reed.
Yeah, with my
your trendy
goofy
shirts.
Hawaiian shirts.
So Tyler, did you like Tommy Maitland? Did you find him funny?
I find him confusing and just
and oddly arousing, but still, it's.
I don't understand that, like his, I think just regular old Mike Myers, like Griffin McElroy was screaming. He's like, "Why isn't this just Michael Myers? Why isn't he just doing this?" And I kind of have to agree in sometimes because it's like, what's the point of a character? Like I feel like Mike Myers could just act British without having to try. So I just, I don't understand. But I mean, like, I guess it adds to the lore, the rich like narrative that they're trying to create. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, was this like a part of the contract with him signing on that he could be a character or something? That he's like most comfortable in his skin when he's like on camera or something?
I don't know. I would have to look it up, but that's been something that a lot of people have been talking about with the show was it Will Arnett's idea or Mike Myers' idea to do a character? Because a lot of people are thinking like the only reason Mike Myers agreed to do this is that so that he could use this character for something. Like it was in his contract that he had to be able to do it in character. But it also does seem like the sort of thing where Will Arnett would be sitting in a room with Mike Myers and be like, it would be even funnier than you hosting the Gong Show? You hosting the Gong Show as a fictional character that we don't tell everybody isn't real. Like, I could see them thinking that's a lot funnier than it actually ends up being. Because it does break down sometimes, for sure. But, I don't know. It would be very interesting to see whose idea it originally was.
I mean, it's just a series of just like, just like things he just says, and it like every time he like signs someone off, it's always just awkward. I'm like, what's the deeper meaning of this thing that he said? Is there something there? And so I'm always kind of like
to be fair, Tyler, there's not usually a deeper meaning. It's usually just a dick joke.
You're right.
Yes, sir.
This is not a highbrow piece of television.
Well, that's the sort of giggles I get is when I figure out like the deeper meaning of a thing. Like, I mean, for example, Arrested Development just has things upon things of just like. Now, hold on. Now, what is that? What is this? It's like very like dated cultural references that like I feel like sometimes you need to know to understand.
Well, for me, I think the fun of the Gong Show is kind of like the fun of Match Game, if you've watched any of that. It's knowing the celebrities on the show from outside of the show. So a great example of this is I think it's either episode 2 or 3 of the Gong Show that Dana Carvey is a guest on. And Dana Carvey, of course, worked with Mike Myers forever and is very good friends with him. And so you can tell the whole time that he is just trying to make Mike Myers break character. And so he'll like judge contestants in his George Bush voice and just do like stupid shit, like get up and dance with the acts in the middle of the performance because he wants so badly to make Mike Myers laugh. And I find that way funnier than, Zach Galifianakis being on there and doing some quips when he gives people scores. Like, I love to see celebrities do this kind of like anarchic, like breaking down the show that they're getting paid to be on thing. And I think that's why I like the Gong Show, because it just feels so like there are no rules and you can just kind of run around and do whatever you want and gong people and make fun of everyone.
Which, to be fair, if there is fun to be had with the Gong Show, I feel like you're right that is that you have to sort of like get into the spirit of it. It's almost very scouty. As 3 Eagle Scouts, it's kind of like
yeah, I mean they sing a song that used to be sung at Boy Scout camps in every episode, right? The shaving cream song, right. Like.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You didn't get far enough into it, but they do a sing-along towards the end of every episode where they sing the shaving cream song.
Yeah, I really hate this show now.
It's like everything Sean hates rolled into 1 hour of television.
How's it feel to get a hard line no on Sean? This is the first time, one of the few times you've ever gotten this just like... I'm not going to even accept this from Sean.
It's kind of what I expected, and I think it wouldn't be in the spirit of the Gong Show if we didn't have one person out of the 3 of us that didn't absolutely hate this.
Sure.
You're right, Tyler. Someone has to gong the Gong Show. So we've talked a lot about the structure of the show. Let's talk about the acts. What was everyone's favorite or least favorite act on the episodes of the Gong Show that they watched?
Can you run by a few of them? I watched the first episode 3 weeks ago.
Well, is there one that stands out that you remember? If you watched it 3 weeks ago and there's one that you remember, that probably speaks highly of that act.
No, the one that's going to stick out with me for the rest of my life will be that stupid banana thing.
Oh, that one was so gross. The couple that spits bananas into each other's mouths.
Oh, yeah, and they won, too.
They did win.
Man, I'm glad I didn't finish that episode. I want my money back.
My favorite act that I've seen so far on the Gong Show is Nana the cat lady.
Well, that got a giggle out of Sean, which is better than anything that's been produced so far.
I don't really... This whole, roast theme is annoying to me, too.
Really? Because I think, she gets gonged. Pretty quickly she gets gonged. And I think it's funny to watch everyone except Dana Carvey just rail into her. I don't know why. I just find that really amusing. And then you have Dana Carvey who's kind of, coming to her defense, but also, trying to make a joke of her at the same time. It's a little bit mean-spirited, but I don't know why. It just really works for me. I find it very, very funny.
I feel like you always have to know that the people that are coming on know that can happen.
Oh, yeah, they are very aware that they're going to get made fun of.
Alright, so I guess if I had to look back through them, I guess I feel like the thing that was really fucking weird. I won't say it's my favorite, but I definitely would say the most sort of polarizing one might have been the lady that was singing opera about Will Arnett, and I feel like that was that was a little too meta narrative for me. I was
that was priceless. Sean, have you seen this woman?
Mm-mm.
She sings an opera song about how much she loves Will Arnett and how sexy he is, and then towards the end of the song, she opens up her big opera dress, and inside of it, she has sewn pictures of Will Arnett. And she's putting them up in his face and singing about him. It was very strange. Particularly because there are two other guests there who just kind of have to sit 2 feet away and watch this whole thing go down. And I think one of them is Fred Armisen, right, Tyler? Is that the one he's on?
It's the Asian guy from Community.
Oh, Ken Jeong. Yeah, it's Ken Jeong.
Yeah.
Is I don't understand why nobody writes opera songs about me. And he's doing this whole bit where he's personally offended that nobody loves him this much. That's a good example, I think you're right, Tyler, of someone who went into this knowing exactly what was going to happen and what jokes were going to be made at her expense. And
right.
She just went with it. And more power to her.
I feel like the show is really all internet garbage, really. I feel like it's a self-producing internet garbage cycle.
Well, remember that the original Gong Show ran in the 60s and 70s. So I had never watched the original Gong Show, but it was something that I was always very aware of, in that, it's the sort of geek culture-y thing that it seems like a lot of people that I were into. When you listen to comedians go on WTF, Mark Maron's podcast, they talk a lot about the Gong Show, or different, I don't know, different TV writers and stuff like that. It's the sort of thing that people like Will Arnett were really into, and I really like Will Arnett and watch most of the stuff he does, so I've always been aware of it in that way. Looking it up before we get a bunch of tweets and whatnot, Gong Show started in 76. It was not on in the 60s.
Sean still wants to get his money back.
If you had to pick between watching the Gong Show or a more traditional competition type show like an America's Got Talent or American Idol, which one would you rather spend your time with?
I mean, definitely the Gong Show.
You used had in the question, right?
Yeah, the only two things you can watch are either American Idol or the Gong Show.
At what point in the season American Idol?
We'll say the beginning rounds, because it's the most similar to the Gong Show.
And at that point, they're really the same thing, aren't they?
American Idol.
So you like seeing like the glimmer of actual talent in each episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I think Tyler and I are different in that we just enjoy watching the people fail on American Idol, and the Gong Show is an hour of that.
Yeah, and also just, just bastardizing contemporary music. Like, I don't know if I really want to see everyone's like 10 billion renditions of the same 20 songs over and over again.
You don't want to hear 10 covers of Wonderwall in the next hour?
Oh, yeah.
You're my Wonderwall, Sean.
Get away from me.
Oh, this whole episode is just an attempt to get Sean to never do a podcast again. I think that's what's actually happening.
It's
here.
working. It's working real well, because when I was watching this, I told Sarah, I was like, this might be the last time.
Oh, goodness. I mean, you're right. We have a very... it's our own fault, Sean, because you know what? Taylor every week is like, hey, guys, let's plan out our topics. And then we don't pick anything. So when we don't pick anything, Taylor gets to run the table, and he chooses what we do.
And then we watch Married at First Sight and the Gong Show 2 weeks in a row.
Hey, at least Married at First Sight was good.
Ooh, harsh words, Sean. So last week, we kind of ended our main discussion with the question of, would you rather be on a performance reality show or a personal life reality show? My follow-up question for you two this week is, would you rather be on a America's Got Talent or American Idol, like a legitimate show, or the Gong Show?
No.
You had to do one or the other, Sean. You can't just say no.
See, maybe I'm going to say American Idol, and here's why. Because when I like to watch sports, and the reason I like to watch sports is I like to watch people that are really good at something do something really well at a high level. So when I see somebody, when I have to like watch not even amateurs, because amateurs can be really good at stuff. Like when I watch somebody who's just on there to like be a joke, I don't really care for it. Like, it's funny to watch these comedians like be funny and do their job, but everything else is just painful.
I'm so sorry. What was the question again?
Would you rather be on an America's Got Talent or American Idol or the Gong Show?
Like, actually participating?
Yeah, participating as a contestant.
I mean, even if I could sing, I mean, is our current person, or if we could make up a person of ourselves?
Let's say you have a talent that you could take on to either one.
Sure. Do I want to win $2,000.17, or do I want the potential to win a lot more money? Well, I feel like, I think American Idol has to be the choice either way, because I think there's more potential for making more money. But I think if, I'm not anticipating to win at all. Like, if I'm just doing it for the goof, I think it's still going to be the Gong Show. I'm not a very serious person regardless. So, I feel like that's kind of determines my path.
As much as I don't want to embarrass myself on national television, because, like, America's Got Talent is kind of the safe answer, right? Because, like, you can do anything and you have the chance to win a lot of money. But it also lasts, like, 6 months, and you can still lose at the last second and get nothing out of it but having been humiliated on TV after 6 months. At least with the Gong Show, like, it's over and done with pretty quickly. Worst case, you get gonged and you meet some famous comedians. Best case, you win $2,000.17. So I think I'm going Gong Show. It's only one night of your life, and you either win some money or you meet some comedians, and that's it.
Sean, we're just three guys just having a good time talking about stuff on the internet. And I think that we're able to give a small leg up on the topic we're talking about. Not because they need it, but just because I think it's just funny to humor the idea. But if you're asking me if I would ever watch this show ever again, on my own free will, probably not. So
I wasn't asking that, but it's good to know. I will continue to watch The Gong Show. and Match Game. And
Now there's the thing is I'm like, well, I mean, I guess if Taylor's watching it, I might, if there's a comedian I happen to like, because, Allison Brie was on, and they had Will Arnett again, they had Ed Helms on, and I was like, well, that's fine. Those are all people I like.
Well, and that's probably how I'm going to watch it, too. I'm going to look at the episodes on Hulu and see who the comedian panel is. And if it's somebody I like, I'll watch it, and if not, I'll skip it. That's how I watch Match Game as well.
I mean, we're talking about me, a person who decided of his own free will, was like, I'm eating dinner, I want to watch something. I know, a Louis C.K. comedy special on Netflix. So I feel like I'm not the person to, give advice for anything.
Yeah, that's not exactly a light dinner watch. Sean, I'm assuming you won't ever be watching The Gong Show ever again.
Yeah, that's a completely safe assumption.
At least I know you well, buddy.
Plan for WWDC like it's your birthday?
Do you have strong opinions on Snapchat filters?
Are you tired of 3-hour-long tech podcasts?
Then you should check out 10-Minute Tech Talk. It's a show Emily and I make every single Tuesday where we catch you up on a week's worth of technology news in just 10 minutes. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Google Play, and basically anywhere else you can get podcasts. All right, well, thank you everybody for joining us for another episode of Dudes Brunch. It's time to end it like we always do, with a round of shameless plugs. Starting with Tyler Reed, who I would give a strong 7 out of 10. Tyler, where can the people find you?
That's not too bad. I'll take it. And if you're wondering... out there at Internet Land, man, this episode seems a little short. Well, tonight's the premiere of Game of Thrones, and I really just want to actually watch it. And seeing the shot is just ceased to exist in a material form. I think it's just time for us all to go. With that being said, you can find my design illustration work at TylerDReed.com, and you can follow me on the socials as TDR Design on Instagram and Twitter. Been working on some motion design using After Effects, so check that out, please. Please hire me.
Sean Evans, I would wait until the very last second of your act to gong you, just so you got to finish. Where can the people find you?
It's very considerate of you. You can find my straight haterade S78910 on Twitter and on Snapchat.
And you can find me on the internet as at TC Olmstead. That's my Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and all that fun stuff. And of course, you can rate the show on Apple Podcasts. We would really appreciate it. It helps us keep doing this thing. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter. We're at Dudes Brunch. And you can subscribe to our subreddit, r/Dudes Brunch, where we post things that don't always fit into the show. Other than that, thanks for listening, and we will see you next week for more brunch.
Get away from me. Both of you have to get away from me now.